Hi, everybody. It's good to see you. I just wanted to let you guys know I am Nettie, and I have been teaching for over 25 years. I graduated from Carthage College in southeastern Wisconsin, and I've had tons of students over the years. Some, go on to their own careers. They go to sing and they perform and they become teachers and they stay in the music industry. And then others they're just happy to sing in their shower. So, or just sing to themselves. So my prerequisite for my students is just the fact that they want to be there. I don't need somebody to come in with talent or anything like that. I'm just happy to help wherever I can. So we have tonight. Today we're going to be covering a few things. We're going to cover our vocal health and assessment. We're going to cover breathing techniques. That's something I think that all of us can struggle with at times. It depends, like we could be stressed, our bodies can go through something, we could be sick, and it can really, really affect what's going on with our voices and our longevity. So we're going to talk about different strategies that we could do and some vocal anatomy. I think we're going to start off with that and just kind of like look at different elements like our rib cage and our vocal folds and what that means and all that good stuff. I'll give you just a quick little review on all that stuff. You might know it, you might not know it. And then I was thinking we could do some warm-ups and we'll vocalize a little bit. We'll get a little bit of that going, but I'm going to try to cater it to keep it kind of simple because we're not singing here all the time. You can sing at home, but we're doing voiceover work. So I really want to cater that, element to all of us today. So we're going to start off by, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I apologize, by the way, if my camera that I just got tends to be a little special. So it might like think I'm trying to do some weird gesture. So we'll see if we have any comedy for tonight. Can everybody see this? Okay, good. Can everybody hear me okay? Yes. All right. All right, ladies. All right. So what we see here. All right. So this diagram right here, we can look at the rib cage. The rib cage is super, super important for us to understand how it's connected in our body. This part right here is the sternum. If you look at these ribs, for example, these ribs, you guys can see my mouse, right? Okay, good. These ribs are connected to the sternum, okay? So they're fixed in this location. If we look over here, we see that the ribs in the back are connected to the spine from the top all the way to the bottom. But in the frontal view, we see that the ribs here are connected to one another by cartilage, which leaves this kind of like gaping space. The reason why this is super important for us to understand is when we try to take a breath and we're taking it kind of like that shallow, like kind of sound, we're only utilizing this part of our lungs. We're not allowing what's supposed to happen. What's supposed to happen is this is our muscle here called the diaphragm. This diaphragm is in our bodies for a very specific reason. It's supposed to take the lungs and take it down into this space, into this cavity for us to be able to fully utilize our lungs. If we didn't, you see how our lungs are right here? If we took those shallow breaths, we didn't allow the diaphragm to do what it's supposed to do and pull our lungs down, then we cannot have full capacity of our breath. We become tight in our chest because the chest, again, here, the rib cage is connected to this bone. So for example, if I have my hands like this and I have my rib cage like fused like this, it can't expand. I can't do anything to make it expand. But down here, the ribs are connected to one another, and therefore there's this expansion that happens. Okay. When we do one of our breath exercises, you'll be able to feel that more, I think, just more awareness on that breath. This is what the vocal folds look like. If we're taking a normal breath, where we're not doing anything specific to take in our air, we're just breathing normal, this is what it looks like. There's a nice gap here. The vocal folds are here and here. This is a part of the larynx. This is like the thyroid over here. And there's like a whole bunch that we can talk about, but I don't want to get too much into it. This right here, this diagram shows, if you look at how far apart it is here, the trachea is here, how far apart it is. This is when we go take that deep breath and we're opening it up, like we're making the space much, much larger so we can intake air more readily. Okay. That's like where everything is just pulling like that. Normal breath. This down here, if you see this gap, you see how there's like everything is touching, but this little portion right here, this is what happens when we whisper. So if you look at this part here, if it was completely closed, that's what it would look like for your normal vocal folds to come together. But this little gap, see how like it's pulled apart? If we whisper, we utilize that too much, it can actually cause harm to our voice. So because it does this kind of weird action here. So I want everybody to understand this is what happens when we normally breathe. This is what happens when we take huge deep inhalation. And this is what happens when we speak in a whisper. And just this next one here, this is the top view from where the larynx is. This would be like if a guy has an Adam's apple, it would be right here. We don't have one because we're females. But this is where it looks like from the back. This large little thingy right here, that's called the epiglottis. That's what when it comes down and it basically blocks our, when we swallow, it blocks all the food from going into our trachea, into our larynx. And this is what it looks like inhalation, and this is what it looks like when we're phonating, when we're making sound. One of the things that's super, super important for us to know is this little knobby thingy right here, right there. Those are called the arytenoids. These arytenoids are the ones that bring the vocal folds together. And the amount of pressure that it brings it together will dictate how our sound will be, whether it is pressed, where the sound will just like, or whether it's breathy. So if we're phonating and we're going and you're pushing really hard, that's what's happening here. Also, when you cough, these suckers come together and they go bam, bam. So when you cough really hard, and we have to be very, very conscious that we're not damaging our voice when we get sick. But they come together and they hit hard. So instead of coughing, we should probably do more something like clearing our throat. Like that, if possible. Because if you can imagine like two football players, one across the field from the other with no pads and no helmet. And they're coming and they go, wow, bam, and they crash each other. That's what's happening here when you cough. So the force is a bit much. So we have to try to relax in that capacity. And this is what it looks like when we're phonating properly. It should have a complete touch area right here. We shouldn't have any gaps or anything like that. Okay, so that's just a little bit of vocal anatomy for you. We're going to get into the nitty gritty, but I wanted to see if anybody had any questions so far on the material that I just showed. Any questions so far?
When I've had people mention they had nodules from talking too much and things like that, whereabouts in that anatomy does that happen?
So you know that the picture that I showed you with the white part of the vocal folds, right? That would be somewhere on there. So think of it like, when you have our fingertips, we can develop calluses. Yes. So that would be the area that it would be located. And sometimes it could be on just one. It doesn't have to be on both. But because there's friction that happens when the vocal folds come together like this, that the part where it's actually touching is usually where a nodule will be. So like when you take a breath, then that nodule will kind of stick out a little bit. And so that's where it would be located. A vocal rest would be the way to remedy vocal nodes. Because if you think about friction, for example, constant friction, if you don't stop the friction from happening, you're still going to keep the same problem. So that's where vocal rest is super important. Any other questions? Thank you, Tabitha, for that question. All right, breathing. Let's do the breathing. I don't know how many people are tired tonight. Hopefully not too many. Well, let's talk about health real fast. Since we were talking about nodules and whatnot, there is a problem sometimes with voiceover. We have a lot of work, especially those who narrate audiobooks, long form narration. We need longevity. We have to be in the booth for hours, and not just for editing, but for actually speaking. So hydration is crucially important. And I know we talk, hydrate, but it's not It's not something to be taken lightly. And so I'm a person that loves coffee, for example. I want my coffee every single day. I have to be very careful because if I go for the second cup of coffee, you have to go ahead and drink more Wasserfluss, water. Yes, agua, to help counteract the caffeine that you just took in your body. So drink the caffeine, but just counteract it a little bit with extra water. The other thing is for me, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes even if I drink a lot of water, I don't feel fully hydrated. Could be a couple of reasons. Fruit actually help hydrate you a little bit more. You could drink coconut water. Coconut water is super, super good. Watermelon water, what do you call it? Watermelon juice. That super, 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 super hydrates. So if you're having trouble with hydration, you don't quite feel like it's really doing something for you, I would add something to your water like berries. Stay away from acid. Stay away from lemons. I know they say, oh, it's good for your throat. It can strip your throat and it could cause a little bit more irritation than, you know, than the helpful parts that lemon can do. So I would say clear of that. The other thing for us is like warm ups. So if you were to go run a marathon, for example, and you just went cold, your muscles were cold, you can cause some damage just because you didn't warm up, just because you didn't get your body going. So we want to do that with our voice. We want to just vocalize a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot. It just needs to be a little bit of something to get it going. We also have to be careful of how we're using our voice. So like I know Tabitha, I'm going to pick on you for a second. We have character voices that, sometimes we need to scream. Like yesterday, I had this session and I needed to scream and I had to project in such a way that I didn't tax my voice to the point where I couldn't do anything else for the rest of the day. So we have to be ultra careful. So not just longevity, but how much pressure and volume that we're using. So, and that diaphragmatic aspect of things, when we take a nice deep breath and we utilize our diaphragm like it's supposed to be, it actually helps us with that longevity and then the volume where we can just go after it. Fatigue. I don't know about you guys, but I've been much more fatigued as of the last so many years being, perimenopausal and whatnot. So that takes a toll on, and I know men don't have to suffer that. They suffer their own stuff, but also females, we go through our menstrual cycle, and our menstrual cycle or even pregnancy wreak havoc on our voice. The stability is gone on our voice. It will just peter out. It just fall apart on us. So our voice will react differently when we are fatigued. It's not going to cooperate with us because that's one of the first things to go. I don't know if you know, like when you get sick, when you haven't slept very much, your voice is one of the first things that just will kaput on you. So we have to be super mindful to try to make sure that we're as healthy as we possibly can be, which is not always easy, but there's that aspect to make sure that we are just as successful as we can be. The other thing that we need to be careful of is tension. Sometimes we hold our bodies in such a tense place when we're trying to do something, we don't even realize it. So releasing that tension, releasing that stress that we're either doing in our abdominal wall, or the tension that we have in our throat or our neck, we might not realize that there's a lot of tension and there's so many muscles in the neck that can tense up and cause us some issue. So we have to be mindful of relaxing, disengaging as many muscles as possible. Okay. One thing though, too, that you guys might not be aware of is a sigh or an H, for example. So if you feel that tension in your throat, if you feel it in your larynx, do a what that does is it forces the vocal folds to actually open up and allow that air to pass more versus it being tight and pushing on one another. So use that H or a sigh for your benefit of releasing some tension. Okay. Um, we covered all aspects of caffeine and hydration, but food. So I don't know about you guys either, but there are times where our smacking of our lips and our tongue and everything like that and mouth noise is atrocious, just wretched, awful, makes you want to go over there and puke a little bit. It's just wretched. It makes you want to pull your hair out. So what we eat really does affect our voice. And if I were to stick to that all the time, I would never eat the things I wanted. because we're constantly working. One of the things that we need to be careful of is dairy. Dairy will muck everything up. We've got mucus and everything. The proteins in dairy will wreak havoc. So I would steer clear from as much dairy as possible, but within reason. So if you have something that's a little bit more crucial that you have to be ultra clean on and not have those mouth clicks, stay away from dairy for a little while. And also sugar. Sugar can do the same thing. It can clog us up and cause us problems. I love this pomegranate lemonade from Wendy's, and usually I will get it late at night because I know I'm pretty much done with everything I start editing. I'll be drinking that lemonade or that Coke. So, so that's something to keep in mind. Yeah. Oh, Hannah. I'm a dairy girl too, 100% through and through. Well, I live in Wisconsin. So, yeah, of course, cheese all the way, cheese every day. All right. So, let's see. Yeah, Hannah, you can ask me a question anytime, sweetheart.
Okay, sorry. I thought there was like the section for it because I put it in the Discord. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't have like my full mic on. I just have my computer mic. Would you prefer for me to ask them at like another time? I just put them in the Discord and I realized I might have put them in really late. Sorry. I'm like way
Oh,
ahead of you guys time-wise. So I didn't know if I could put
well,
them.
we'll definitely have a section for some questions if they are not pertinent to the
Yeah.
subject at hand at the very moment, then I would just wait just a little bit to do it. But if you have something relating to what I just spoke about, go ahead and ask it.
No, you just got me thinking about vocal strain. Basically, I don't know if at any point in time, not right now, but if you could answer maybe questions. I've been struggling a lot with like effort sounds, like screaming, punching in ways that don't, as you can hear, I like my voice is already pretty like low and gravelly like that, but I feel like I was trying to practice them and I was like out for the count the other day. So I don't know if maybe you would have
Aw.
some techniques
Yes.
that could help with those effort sounds for like my video game stuff.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. All right. Well, actually, let's go ahead and with that, let's go ahead and transition into a breathing exercise I want to do. Um, I probably should stand up for this so you guys can see a little bit easier. We'll see if the camera follows me or not. You know. All right. Okay, camera. Let's do this, camera. See, see? No, it's not following. All right, here we go. All right. So in order for us to breathe more efficiently or properly, I should even say, we need to take our breath in such a way that allows the diaphragm to pull the lungs down here in this cavity. So I want everybody to just sit up tall. You don't have to stand. I want you to take your hand and we're going to place it right here. So this is where the sternum ends, and then this is where the soft part is. Now, mine is a little softer than maybe some other people's, a little extra fluffy. But this is a spot that's really, really crucial to make sure that your hand is here. Now, if you go too low, then you're just feeling your organs move down below. But we want it right about here, if everybody can see, right? The other thing that we need to do is relax our abdominal wall. When we're holding ourselves up, when we're sitting up, we tend to tighten, especially women, because we want to hold our gut in. We don't want our guts to stick out, guys too, but we just want to make sure that we're holding ourselves upright. And what that can do is cause a massive problem because it's kind of like having a corset on and trying to breathe. So we really have to relax the abdominal wall. So relax for a second. Get your abdominal wall nice and loose. Okay. Hand in position. We're going to evaluate our breath in just a moment. I'm going to have you do it, and then we're going to talk about what we're doing, and then we're going to improve it. Okay. And then we're going to be more aware, like what happened exactly with the breathing technique that we just did. So we're going to take our breath, we're going to exhale it completely. Then we're going to stop for like a second or two. We're going to pause, and then we're going to allow the air in. Then I'll describe to you what we just did. Okay. Here we go. Everybody, take your air, blow it out. Blow, 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 blow. Blow, blow, blow. Keep blowing everything, 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 and pause. Let it in. We're going to do it one more time for good measure. Everybody blow out your air, blow it out. Blow, 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 blow. Blow, blow, blow. Wait. Let it in. Okay. Let's talk about what actually happened. So when the body releases all of that air and it waits to let it back in, there's no way that the breath is not going to happen. We're designed to keep breathing. We're designed to have it be an involuntary movement, an involuntary thing like our heart. So our heart beats without our mind going, hey, you need to beat now. You need to beat now. You need to beat now. Our breathing is the same way. But what happens when we speak or when we sing, we are now taking something that's involuntary and we're making it voluntary. We're telling it what to do, when to do it. And it's not normal for that to happen in some, estimation. So by taking your breath and, exhaling everything out and then pausing and then letting the air come in, then you're allowing that breath to just come and fill it up. You're not making it do it. You're allowing it to happen, right? We're going to do this again. And I want you to feel how much expanding you're actually doing in this vicinity and how nothing is happening here in this clavicular area. It's all diaphragmatic. And you want to also listen for your sound. Are you hearing your breath? When you do this exercise, do you hear it? And then we'll take a little survey on who hears it and who doesn't hear it. Is it audible or is it not audible? All right, here we go. Hand here on the diaphragm. Blow out all your air. Here we go. Blow, 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 blow. Everything, blow it all out. Pause. Let it in. One more time. Blow it out. Blow, 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 blow. And pause. Let it in. So, show of hands. How many people heard their breath? Anyone? How many people didn't hear their breath? Excellent. Now, if you're taking a breath while we're talking, like let's say I'm talking a lot right now, and I go, you can hear that breath. That is an indicator of you taking an incorrect breath. That means you're taking this nice, not nice, shallow breath, that clavicular breath. If you don't hear your breath, then you know you're doing it right. So silence is actually golden in this aspect. The other thing is that we're in voiceover work. We need that silence in between stuff. So we don't want to sit there and like we're going to give the listener anxiety. We don't want that aspect whatsoever. Yeah, let me see. Oh my God, Nettie, groundbreaking for me right now. Aw, good. I'm glad.
Yeah, that's mind-blowing because when you think of the amount of time we spend editing breaths and dealing with breath sounds, that's wild. That, and that never even occurred to me. So I'm just like,
Good.
Yeah, total mind-blowing moment.
Awesome. Yeah, it's amazing how something so simple can be so difficult, And it's the problem really is us. It's always us, right? We're always our own problem. But the reason why the problem is us is because we're doing something else to interfere with the natural process of what we need it to be. So when we're taking our breath in, like I showed you on that diagram, when we take that air in and we open it up too far, it can create tension. It can create problems. We also can take it in this shallow place too, because we're not relaxed enough to let the diaphragm do what it needs to do in order to fill up to capacity. Okay. So the other aspect that's really, really important is your usage of your breath. What happens sometimes? You take a good breath and then you still don't make it to the end. What the heck? Well, part of that is that we're not utilizing our air very well as we're singing. So that duration of time that we need our air, we're fizzling. We're either fizzling at the end or we're letting out too much air in the start. So how are we using our air? Not did we take a good breath? Now are we utilizing it the way we should? So there's a couple of things I want to work on with this one. We're going to use an S for this one. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our breath in, but we're going to go ahead and make an S sound. We're not going to phonate right now. We're not going to make a pitch. We're just going to use an S. And what a balloon looks like when you inflate it and then you let it go and it goes and it goes everywhere. That's a whole bunch of air just escaping. Imagine if you filled that same balloon up, right? And at the start of that balloon, you have your fingers like this. And now you open it up just a little bit and all this air comes out like a steady stream. That's what we need to do with our air. We don't want it to escape too quickly, okay? So we're going to do this with an S. We're going to take that breath. We're going to blow it all out. We're going to pause. We're going to bring it back in. And then we're going to do an S. We're going to do an S as long as possible without falling over. And then we're going to do it again and see if we can expand that. All right, here we go. Lose out all your air. Blow it all out. Get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. Pause. let it in, and S. Keep going as much as you can. Keep that S going. Go, 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 go. Go until you can't. Good, nobody's fallen over. Good job. Very nice, very nice. All right, now you felt what that felt like, right? And we're gonna do the same thing again, and we're gonna extend the length. We're gonna try to make it for like, let's say 4 more seconds, which is actually pretty significant. And you can time yourself. You can use the stopwatch and you can do it for like 20 seconds, and then you can do it for 22 seconds. And you're gonna keep progressing because you're gonna take that time and you're just gonna go a little bit more and a little bit more, okay? Here we go again. Blow out all your air. Blow, 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 blow. And you're going to pause. Let it in. Start your S. Keep it going. Keep it going. Go, 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 go. Keep it going as long as you can. Keep going. Keep it going. Did you make it further? Are you making it further? Keep going. There you go. There you go. Nicely done, everybody. Nicely done. All right. Those are the things that we can do like on the onset of our day. Or if we're feeling like our anxiety is taking over and we're not quite making it to the ends of certain phrases. I personally like to do it. I like to do it on an ooh when I'm phonating a pitch. When you phonate a pitch, there's other elements to it. When you do an S, you don't have to think so much. Just keep the air going, right? When you do an ooh, you're actually trying to keep the airflow steady and you're trying to keep the pitch steady. So it does add an extra element to it. I personally like to do this because it really, really will indicate how well your airflow is coming out, because you actually have something a little bit easier for your ear to hear, because the ooh is a little bit more audible than an S. So I can demonstrate that for you. I gotta loosen it. So I would pick a pitch and go, ooh. It's not hearing me?
We need
Yeah,
to,
because sound.
yep, we need to go into the, so if everybody real quick, super quick, goes into their audio settings in Zoom, there's the little up arrow next to your microphone, go to audio settings, and what you're going to do is switch it to live performance audio under audio profile. So audio profile, live performance audio, and that's going to make it so that all of our sounds, in other words, the mic isn't going to try to filter anything for Zoom's sake.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you.
No problem.
We'll be going into warm up, so just keep it in that setting. Okay. I'll try that again so you guys can hear it. Let me know if it works. Thumbs up. Ooh. No,
How long did you hold it for?
I kept going. When you saw it like this,
Yeah,
my pucker power.
we cut off after about 2 seconds.
Zoom is special.
Eh,
Oh, zooming. Live performance. I did click it.
Okay.
Maybe I can do it
Maybe
closer to the
originals? Maybe
microphone.
we do original sound for musicians.
Sure.
Meant for studio environments. We could try that.
Okay. High fidelity music mode. I've never tried that one. Why not? Okay, here we go. I'll do it one more time. But you guys get the gist. Ooh. Nope. Well, basically, if you do that, and we can go into more of an advanced thought process on this one when it comes to phonating and actually longevity. But basically, what you'll probably notice is if you do this on your own, is that your voice might waver a bit. It might go woo, 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 like that, And what you're trying to do is you're trying to keep it as steady as possible on the quietest sound that you can for as long as you can. It's an exercise you guys can try at home. Sometimes it's best to do it when you're laying on your back, just relaxing, maybe before you go to bed. Hopefully it doesn't annoy the other people around you, but it's a good one to try. We're going to go ahead and talk about now warm-ups. Warm-ups. Okay. So even if you're not super musically inclined, Um, warm-ups are pretty crucial, I would say. Sorry about that. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my keyboard, and we're going to try at least. Hopefully if Zoom cooperates with me. But we're going to try to go up 5 scale degrees and come back down. So if you guys remember The Sound of Music, and she sings the do re mi fa sol la ti do do do, you know, she does her cute little thing at the very end of the what's that song called? The Do a Deer song. Is it called Do a Deer? I don't remember, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So we're going to go, instead of going from do to do, which is 8 notes, we're actually just going to go do to so, do, re, mi, fa, so, and then back down. Instead of doing the scale degree or doing the solfege, which is the do, re, mi, fa, so, we're just going to do it on an oo, going up, going back down. So, can everybody hear this? Everybody can hear that okay? All right. So I'm just going to demo it for you. Super, super simple. We're going to do okay? Okay, everybody together. Ready? And breath. Let's do it here. How about here? Good. One more. Sorry about that. It's kind of awkward to play like this. All right. So if we do that and we ascend, you can keep going. You don't even have to have somebody play the piano for you. You can just start on a random pitch, go up those 5 notes, and come back down if you have a good sense of it. If you don't feel like that's right for you, or if it's not easy for you, instead of doing the scale degrees and making it like a stepwise, like a staircase going up and down, you can make it like a slide. A slide is super important. It's actually one of the most crucial warm-ups you can actually do, because it's like having wrinkles in a shirt and we want to get the wrinkles out, so we use a hot iron to kind of smooth everything out. Slides does that. It moves everything through as smoothly as possible to kind of get any hiccups that you might have. So like when you feel like your voice cracks, you know, and you feel like your voice kind of goes in and out, or it has like a hiccup, all of a sudden you're going and it goes and then it does something weird. The slides are super, super beneficial. So we're going to try slides in the same kind of way. But instead of playing all the 5 notes up and down, I'm going to play the note here, up, and then down. So we're going to try it on E. I'm going to go E. Okay, try it with me. E. Let's try another one. E. Keep going. E. Those are slides. Slides can be done in that, like those 5 note range. It can be done in 3. It can be done in an octave. It can be done in 2 octaves. 2 octaves are actually lots of fun. Actually, one of my preferred things. You can start. Well, hopefully this will pick up. I don't know if it will. I'll try to be gentle, but 2 octaves will sound like this. If I go, hope I was gentle enough for that. But when you do that, if you notice, like I'm starting from a fairly decently low note and I'm taking it up fairly high and I'm bringing it back down. And if you can do that, it doesn't even have to be like where I started and where I ended. You can literally pick any note and make it like a siren instead of a slide. Like, ooh, I'm sure you've heard many people do that. Ooh, yeah. So those are super, super crucial and beneficial. We also want to talk about descending. Instead of just ascending, we also need to work on the low stuff. I don't know, by a show of hands, how many of us have to do male dialogue? Yeah. And for our male dialogue to sound authentically, to sound authentically male-like, for a female to actually do, we actually need more of the low notes to kind of resonate a little bit more full. And we want to make sure that it's not too high pitched. We don't want to make it so gravelly that we're taxing our voice. We have to be ultra careful when it comes to that, but we want to make sure that we can kind of deepen the sound and just like sit in it a little bit more. So we're going to try these 2 exercises and we're going to go down. We're going to descend a bit. All right, let's try it. We'll go back to the first one. And instead of going up and then down, we're going to go from the top note down and then back up. So we'll do this one on an E. E. Together. E. Descending. E. Keep going. E. E. One more. E. Good. Now we're going to do the same thing. We'll do the slides, okay? Again, we're starting on the top note. We're going to slide down to the bottom, slide back up. Let's do this one on E again. E. Oh, sorry about that. E. E. Smooth it out. E. Last one, let's do like super exaggerated. Let's make it like ridiculously just whoa. Let's try this one. Ready? And breath. E. Got it? Nice. All right, pretty good. We're going to talk about a different warm-up. We're going to call this Messa di Voce. Messa di Voce. It's Italian, Gabby. You know this. Messa di Voce. Okay, this is one of the most important warm-ups for majority of singers, especially classically trained singers, because when we phonate on a particular pitch, we want to be able to just go ham, get loud, be able to have that pitch in full force. We also want to be able to do it in the quietest of ways. And Messa di Voce does that. It starts with a pianissimo, which means very quiet, and then you crescendo, which means to gradually get louder, to a fortissimo, which is very loud. And then you decrescendo and you come back to the initial start of the pianissimo that you started with. And each note that you do, you're going to try to make sure that you have the same technique. And we could try to take it as high as possible and as low as possible. Now, the extreme parts of our range, if you can ever, get to the stratosphere, would be very, very difficult to do Messa di Voce on because it's hard to sustain those pitches. Those frequencies are very, very high, very difficult to sustain. The low notes can be a little bit too low, and that will also be a different issue, but similar. So we're going to concentrate more in like the mids, the lows, but not ultra low, a little bit of the highs if you want to do that on your own, and like the super, super highs, they're just going to not even worry about that. Okay. So we're going to start on a pitch. I think it's easiest for volume to do E. E has more velocity to it because it's shallower in the mouth, so it resonates differently, where oo is just a little bit easier on most people. And ah is usually the best because you have a little bit more space and you can actually resonate a little bit more in the mouth. So, but we're going to do it on E. Probably Zoom likes oo. We're going to try it on E. I'm going to give us a pitch. This is middle C, if anybody knows what middle C is. But we're just going to sing this note. We're going to sing it. We're going to crescendo. And we're going to decrescendo. I'm going to demo it once, and then I'll have you guys join me. So we're going to do E. Okay, so we're going to start it quiet, get loud, and get quiet again. Now you can make this longer, but right now that's about what I need, just about that time frame. Okay, ready? Deep breath. Okay, good. Let's do it again. Now, vibrato is very, very important. That's like the shaking in the voice. It's something that's natural. That's something we don't have a lot of time to talk about it today. But vibrato is super, super important when you sing. So if you do have that where your vibrato is going, kicking in, allow it to kick in. Don't let it stop. Go ahead and do it. But let's try this again. Ready, everybody? And breath. Okay, good. This one is really, really beneficial to get loud, like loud. Um, Loud to the point of shattering some glass almost loud. You can be able to shake a whole bunch of stuff. The best way to, I think, evaluate it is when you are in the bathroom, because the bathroom is a smaller place and we're so stuck in our booths and whatnot. We want the deader sound so it's not like bouncing off the walls. But for something like this, we want to get our butts in the bathroom because the walls are much closer to us and it will hit the wall and come back to us. And then you can really hear the power that you have. Let's see what everybody is saying in the chat. What we got going on in the chat.
So far, just some silly comments. Nothing we need to super worry about yet.
All right. Oh yeah, Tabitha. Sirens in the morning. Very nice. And yes, if you have dogs and cats and they will cry and whatnot, and you just calm them down and say, "Shut up. I gotta do what I gotta do." All right. I'm gonna make you guys do a song. Because we are a group, right? We're not all singing together, so we're not unmuting ourselves or whatnot. But I'm gonna have you sing "Row, Row, Row Your Boat" because it's something that everybody knows. We're gonna sing this one together. We're gonna sing it normal, and then we're gonna sing it obnoxious, like pressed and hard. And then we're gonna sing it all breathy and ridiculously flighty. And then we're going to sing it normal again. And we'll discuss what is it that we're doing to kind of get the different sounds. The first one, just sing it normal. I think that's a good note to start on. All right. Everybody knows row, row, row your boat? Yes? All right, here we go. Ready? And row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. All right? We got the merrily part that goes a little higher. So let's do it one more time and see if we can just get a little bit loftier there. Ready? And row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Dun, dun. We're not doing it around, never mind. So when we do this, we're going to try to do it again. Now let's be obnoxious, okay? Let's take our vocal folds and we're going to press them really hard together. Please do not injure yourselves. This is not what we want. But I want you to sing it, and I want a little bit more of that push in there. No, it's not the vocal fry. We're not going not doing that. But it needs to be like row, row, row your boat. Just make it obnoxious. And I want you to feel that tension that's happening in the larynx because that's really, really important to know what's happening. Okay, the tension is crucial for us to kind of like steer clear from. That's like the enemy. Okay, but let's feel what that feels like. Here we go. Ready? And go. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Wretched, awful, gris. Now you feel that tension in here, right? You felt it just kind of like push on itself a lot more. That's because you're taking the vocal folds and you're pushing them really hard on each other. That's called pressed. It's a pressed sound. The opposite of that, the antithesis, is the airy sound, the breathy sound, where there's a gap in the vocal folds, kind of like the whisper, and you're just like as you're singing everything. So we're going to try row, row with the breathy sound. Now you might have to take extra air because obviously you're exhaling a whole bunch of air through that. So let's try it. Ready? Super breathy. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. See what I'm saying? A lot of air, a lot of breaths just to make it through. Now that's the opposite side of pressed. What we need to establish is somewhere in between. The pressed is horrible. Breathy is also bad. And if you tend to be towards one or the other, you have to rectify it by going towards the other side. So if you're doing something that's massively pressed, or that's how you speak a little bit more, with a little bit tension and gruffness, you have to lighten it a bit, lighten the tension, and go towards the breathy side. And if you are breathy, you need to go to the dark side. Okay. Get to the dark side. Make it a little bit more towards that pressed sound. So if my pressed is here and my breathy is here, we want right there in the between, right in the middle, a balanced sound. Okay. Now we know with character development, we can utilize a breathier sound for different characters, and we can use a pressed sound for other characters. So we will dive in a little bit more towards one or the other, as we need it. But for the most part, normal narrating voice, usually most of the commercial work, you really want to be right in that middle part, that nice balance. So think of it like a boat or a kayak where you're just like trying to make sure that you're not flipping over in the water. You want to try to keep that balance, right in the center. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a little bit of homework. I want you to, when you have some downtime, I want you to sing one of your favorite songs. I want you to sing it with no abandon. With abandon? With abandon. I want you to sing it with abandon. I want you to sing it like nobody's listening. I don't give a crap what I sound like. I want you to sing it like that. Then I want you to sing it in a way that sounds very princess-like, very demure, very gentle. And if you're singing it to a toddler or something in that nature, okay? I want you to sing the same exact song with that mindset. And I also want you to take that song and you're going to sing it in the most wretched way, and you're going to pretend like you can't sing a note to save your life. Sing it awful. The most wretched way that you possibly can, sing it. So you know what the bottom of the barrel is like. You need a gauge, okay? And then I want you to sing it again, but this time instead of singing it with full abandon, I want you to sing with mindfulness. I want you to be aware of what you sound like. I want you to be aware of how your breaths are. Are my breaths audible? I want you to be completely connected. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to know all the workings of everything. It's just a matter of just singing with that mindfulness, so then you can kind of like see, okay, this part sounds pretty good, or oh, I'm pushing a little too hard here, or oh, I didn't quite hit that note because I went after it a little too aggressive. I need to be a little bit more princess-like to get there. So just experiment. I want you guys to kind of find your little singing voice and make that happen, okay? The other thing I want you to do is I want you to pay attention to how you speak after you sang something. So that's the second part of the homework, not necessarily connected to the first part of the homework. The second part of the homework is I want you to go after, like, let's say you were singing for a while. How does my voice feel after I'm singing? Am I tired? Do I feel like it's loosened things up? Am I like ready to go now? Sometimes it could be fatigue. Like you can sing for about 15 minutes and all of a sudden you crap out. There's nothing left. And other times you could sing for hours. So I want you to just see what's happening with the voice. What is going on with your singing voice, and then what's going on with your speaking voice. I don't know if many people know, but with singing, if you're singing for more than 45 minutes to maybe an hour, you need a break. Your voice needs a break. And if you do it constantly, time after time after time, just like Tabitha asked about the vocal nodes, you can develop massive problems in the voice that take months, if not years, to repair. Sometimes people go in for surgery. I'm going to pick on somebody, hopefully she doesn't listen to this, but Adele. I'm going to pick on Adele. I don't know how many people love Adele, but she makes me mad sometimes because she pushes way too much. Even after she caused herself a lot of vocal fatigue and damage. And I don't remember if she had surgery or if she just had, I think she had surgery, right? Even after that, guess what she does? The same thing. And it's just like, I cannot, you know. So we have to take the things that people have done kind of wrong. We have to learn from them and not fall into the same traps. So I would caution everybody. The other thing I want you guys to think about too is resonators, being able to use the different places in the mouth, in the pharynx, which is in the back portion, the nasal cavity, that we can develop into our character voices. So we can use kind of like nasal sounds. We can have a little bit more fun with our character voices, the more we can kind of deep dive into singing. So that's something to think about. I want to open it up right now to some questions. Let's see what you guys got for me. Does anybody have any questions?
I know Hannah was the first one onto the Discord, and she has been asking about effort sounds, fight scenes, punching, screaming, yelling, all the things that happen in gaming often, and how obviously incredibly fatiguing that can be. Yeah, and how to do it in a way that's less damaging and hopefully, I don't know if there's a healthy way to do it, but something.
Yeah, for sure. There is. So you know how like we utilized our breath and we allowed our diaphragm to pull our lungs down into the placement that it needs to be for our full breath? Well, when we exhale, we do something. We either stay in that kind of inhalated position, or we start to exhale and we push things out. The more force that we use, and we send that air out, the more it could be damaging to our voice. So we don't want to take our air and push even harder, because there's something called subglottal pressure, where the vocal folds come together. Right underneath it is like the backup of the air that's waiting to kind of like get out. When we're breathing out normal like this, there's nothing to stand in the way. But when the vocal folds come together and we phonate, that subglottal pressure builds up. And then we, of course, have all the air that's still in our lungs that's trying to get out. So if we go after it in such a way that we just go, we push and we allow our abdominal wall and our diaphragm to kind of go in a little bit more than we need to excessively, that can cause us a problem. Excuse me. The other thing is that our vocal folds coming together, if we push harder than we need to, that can also fatigue our voice much faster because we're using more than we need to. I don't know about you guys, but I have a lot of back issues, I have a lot of health problems. I got problems in general. But when I do the dishes, I tend to, like, if I grab something, for example, I grab it in such a way as if it weighed 20 pounds. Grab it like, and I'm putting all this force on this thing and it's ridiculous. It just only weighs like, it's just, it's a problem. But sometimes when we speak and when we go after it, we do the same thing. We're putting all this extra emphasis more than we need to. So we need to find that sweet spot of where is it enough to be, to keep the integrity of the sound, whether we're going to yell, for example, where is that enough and where is it too much, right? We need to find the enough place that it sounds authentic, that it's genuine, but yet it's not overkill, because that overkill is what really kills our voice. The other thing I want you to remember is when we exhale, when we go after it, this diaphragmatic pulse, or let's say if you go, ugh, I want everybody to try that real fast. Just go, ugh, ugh, your diaphragm is engaging in that moment. When we scream, that's the kind of feel that we need to feel. Like, A, right? So a lot of that pressure, a lot of the action that's happening is literally happening here. And it's not happening so much here. Our vocal folds are coming together, but the air that's coming from here is that driving force. The velocity that comes out is from the air, not from the pressure that you're using, to take your vocal folds and bring them together. So if I'm going to go, hey, I'm sorry, it's too loud. Hey, right? I'm using that here. I can do that. I don't even know how many times. But if I was like, hey, it's different. I'm using pressure here. That's going to kill my voice in like, I don't know, a minute, and you're done. So you have to make sure that you're utilizing your air to bring out that velocity of sound. Hey, okay, let's try it. Everybody together, take a breath and go, hey, do it again. Hey, Sorry if it's so loud. I want you to do it. I'm not going to be as loud because I can break this microphone actually, literally. If you guys only knew how loud. My family knows. They know. But I want you to try to take it and I want you to hit it hard. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to kill it. I want you to take it and I want you to hit it hard as if someone punched you in the gut and you were just like, boom. Okay, ready? And go. Do it again. I want it more here. I want yeah, grit. Ready? And go. Now, how much did you feel in your throat versus how you felt it coming diaphragmatically? Right? That is the key. That is the key. So if you took nothing else from today, take that. Take the breathing thing too, because that's important. Yes, Gabby.
Yeah, I'm mind blown. Yeah, that's cool as hell. Okay, I don't want to take time from other people. Susan just said, why is it that as soon as I start to narrate, I have to clear my throat more than one time?
Aw. So you mean by clearing your throat because you feel like you got some gunk going on, or do you feel like because it's drying out?
No, it feels like it's drying out. It's as if my clear voice that I walked in the booth with, and I sit down as soon as I start to hit record, I'm like, and it's all like it dries up, and so I have to do that a few times, and so I don't know if there's, I've tried all different sorts. It doesn't stay for the whole time, but it's like an instant, oh, you're going to record. Yeah, I'm gonna just dry up
Yeah.
here. So that's yeah.
I'm so sorry. I don't mean I'm not chuckling because I think it's funny. I'm chuckling because I'm with you. um there's a couple of reasons why. Some of it can be just like we get prepared and we open our mouth and the saliva basically just kind of dries up, and then all of a sudden we're more cognizant now of what's happening in our mouth, where before you weren't thinking about it. So because you weren't thinking about it, you might not have noticed it, so sometimes when you're like, oh no, now I got to do this, and now you're hyper aware. The other thing that I would do is um some people swear by like green apples, some people swear by gum, some people swear by drinking some water ahead of time. What I like to do is I like to wait 10 minutes after I've had something, a sip of water, anything, food. I like to wait 10 minutes after where nothing is happening, you know, and I like to keep my mouth kind of closed and breathe through my nose and less breathing out of the mouth just because it dries out so quickly. And then if you have to clear your throat, just clear it a little bit. You can do a little bit of those slides to kind of get it warmed up and out of the way. Yeah. But it is one of those things that unfortunately we can't fully solve. We have to just kind of figure out, okay, why is this happening to me every single time? Is it because like now my awareness is there? Is it because I'm thinking like, okay, here I go? Because I swear when I'm ready to record some sound, airplane, literally, legit, you push the button and boom, everything just kind of dive off. So annoying. So is it something that is happening because you're fixating on it, or is it something that's truly happening because things are drying out? Like for me, I get really dry very fast, and I just have to overcome that dryness. Swallowing is another issue. All of a sudden you're like, I can't swallow, and I try to swallow and I'm swallowing extra, and then I don't have enough saliva in my mouth to actually swallow. And we have to override that because swallowing is voluntary, just like it is involuntary. I'm sorry, just like breathing and heartbeat. We naturally swallow without having to think about it. But now all of a sudden we're using our voice and we have to swallow, and then we have to like not for a while, and then we have to swallow. So that becomes problematic. So it's our brain trying to get over some of those hiccups that we have. So going into the booth, before you get your butt in that booth, just clear your throat. Clear your throat before you get in there. Maybe your mind can actually come over that hurdle before you start your recording by getting rid of that stuff outside of the booth. You sit down, relax, say a few lines, or say a starter line, for example. I don't know if you're narrating a book or whatever, but say a few lines ahead of time and then click the record button and see if that helps get rid of some of the frustration, because that frustration alone is a hindrance.
No, that's
Right?
excellent. Thank you. No, Brilliant. Thank you. I look
All
forward to
right.
trying it tomorrow.
Yes, let me know. Message me in Discord. I want to know.
Thank you. Yeah.
Of
I
course,
will.
any
Thank you.
questions you have, anybody that you can contact me anytime. Um, even if you think it's something small or whatever, contact me anytime. I will be happy to help in any which way I can. All right. Does
I
any? Yeah.
uh I was just gonna say, I mean, we're already we're in nine, a little over 9 o'clock, but I can't stress, ladies, how much talent we have in this group, and just the wealth of information. The Who I feel is going to become Nettie's counterpart is Jennifer Kellums. She's here. Curtis right now. Uh, because Jennifer is a speech pathologist and
Oh,
the
nice.
to Nettie's Yang, and I've spaced you two apart on the calendar a little bit for this very reason, so it wasn't too much overlap. But oh my God, Nettie, I feel like we could do like 5 more of these. You're
Yes, for sure.
amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. This is unbelievable, and I'm gonna talk to Anthony and kind of lobby to see if we can't get you on the calendar a couple more times, because I love, 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 love. And thank you so much. And yeah, I'm guessing Discord would be the easiest way to shoot something out there.
Yeah,
Yep.
definitely. Yeah, and then I
Awesome.
can always give you my cell phone and my email off of Discord. I don't mind. The cell phone is usually the easiest. Texting is usually the easiest for me.
Hmm.
So I'll make that available to whoever messages me.
Fantastic.
Thanks, everybody. I
Amazing.
really appreciate you guys. I appreciate your willingness to cooperate.
For sure.
And
Oh
thanks
my
for
God.
having me here. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
So much fun. And yeah, I mean, God, we learned a ton. Holy crap. Thank you.
Awesome. I tried not to overload you guys too much, but I wanted you guys to have, the full smorgasbord, a little bit of everything.